Allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast.
Thank you for joining. Just like to
Muted.
a quick audio video check, making sure you're hearing me loud and clear and also seeing our screen. You should be looking at the SOS ServerSave Partner Webinar slide here. Use the GoToMeeting chat function to put in any questions you have so we can see what you want to talk about, what you're here for today, what you're hoping to see. Our agenda for today is going to be going through the program and really how we've set this program up so you can be profitable in it. So we'll go over the market, go over the program, what it means to you, what it means to your customers, and then we'll do a quick run through of the software at the end. Any particular topics or questions that you have now? How many of you here today are currently new to moving into the managed service market, meaning monthly billing for your customers for a fixed set of services? Okay, looks like most people. Is there anyone here who's been doing managed services for more than a year and say, at least 80% of your clients are on a managed service plan? None. Okay, great. So my name is Derek Wood. I'm the Partner Product Manager here at SOS. And again, today we're going to be going over the SOS ServerSave program and how this is going to help you enter this market of managed services via managed backup. So first, go through where are we coming from? Well, if we look at this graph on the right, it's just your Business 101 innovation adoption lifecycle. It's what happens when new markets come to bear, what happens when they start growing, and then, of course, as the growth goes down because of the entry into the market, the supply outweighs the demand. So beginning in 2001, SOS was one of the first to market as far as online backup. So that's way before that's really before the innovator stage. It wasn't until about 2003 or so that you start really see the innovators come in. So those new people really start to play with the online backup programs. And from 2005 to 2007 was really the early adoption phase, or the beginning of the early adoption phase. Early adoption was primarily geared and filled by consumers. Why are consumers often early adopters? It's because these consumer plans are less risky. There's not a business behind this new technology. They have less data. Maybe you have some of the more savvy business people who would like to see this come in. They start using it themselves first, and then once they deem that it's business ready, they'd move it into their business or wherever they work. So we had a lot of things that the online backup market had to prove between 2005 and really 2010. From 2009 to 2011, we saw about 33% growth year over year, and that was still in the early adoption phase. For the most part, the SMB market had not truly entered this adoption of online backup. What the IDC has confirmed today is that about 70% of SMBs out there today are evaluating this type of service. They're expecting a huge adoption rate to come about in the next couple of years here, and they put us right now at the early majority. So the early majority pretty much means that the SMB market is now opened up to cloud-based backup strategies. And that's what SOS is providing. So our cloud backup strategy has been best in the business since 2005. 2005, we entered our beta into a review session with PC Mag, and that was our first PC Mag Editor's Choice Award, our first of 4, and we're the most award-winning online backup provider in the market today. So we're looking at things to really see that, okay, now that we're in the SMB market, what else can we package into our partner program that's really going to make this stick, that's really going to make this different? And that's really where the price functionality inflection point has been reached. At what point is the functionality and the price meshing? Do people see the value in that, or are they willing to pay for it? And right now, that's right where we're at. So the market is estimated to triple over the next couple of years here. So right now, or last year, it was just over $1.5 billion, and it's estimated that by 2014, this is going to be a over $3.5 billion industry. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One is the SMBs are starting to adopt. Not only that, but the scope of adoption is increased dramatically. Historically, meaning the last 5 years or so, an online backup policy was something you did after you put your quote-unquote real backup together. You have your tape drives on site doing your backup, and then online backup was considered a nice-to-have. And that was because of the cost, the market awareness or market savviness with the security behind it, having to prove its security, its speed. Of course, bandwidth was a huge part of online backup. If it's going to take it a couple days to recover, a group of files, that's not really that viable of a solution. It's not that helpful. So with the proved security, the increase in bandwidth, the increase in savviness of the market, and the decrease in cost, online backup has now become a primary mode of backup. It almost becomes the first thing that you do. You say, okay, well, you have an online backup for all your files, right? Great. All right, what else can we do for this? So it's almost flipped, whereas before, online backup was a complement to existing backup procedures. Now online backup is the focal point, and those other portions are the complements. So what does this mean when I keep saying strategies, complementing services? Well, there's a lot of different ways that you can back up a business. What we've put together now is a business continuity market or a disaster recovery plan. Disaster recovery, risk management, business continuity. They're rather all synonymous, but business continuity sounds the best. Risk management sounds the worst. No one wants to go through a formal risk management plan. They think it sounds unnecessary, sounds expensive, sounds time-consuming. Disaster recovery sounds necessary, but still not that sexy. It's still a insurance policy. And with the move into the managed service market, we have business continuity plans. Same thing as before, but it sounds sexier. Now, the reason there's business continuity and it's not a disaster recovery plan is that business continuity means there are preventative measures in place. So with your backup, one of your preventative measures could be doing test recoveries. Anyone currently offering regularly scheduled test recoveries for their clients? I got a couple. So test recovery, a lot of reasons that people don't do this on a regular basis is because they are pretty expensive. It's time consuming. You pretty much commit your entire weekend or a pretty long period to trying to do a test recovery. But this is a big part of it. Tape backups were surveyed at failing about 60% of the time during recovery. The reason was because there was no verification of the data as it was being written. So a lot of the tape systems, you get a green light that, sure, an image has been created, but it's not a green light that there was corrupted data on that image or that the image itself corrupted during the write. It just was a green light that, yes, this process had finished and had been written to this new drive. So the test recovery scenario is a really huge part of the new managed service packages that you can start offering your customers. And maybe that becomes only something that your quote-unquote gold package has. But business continuity includes RMM services. How do you prevent hardware failure? You have good hardware policies, tech refresh policies on site. You have good remote monitoring and management services, so you can start seeing if a drive is about to fail. And then, of course, when prevention fails, you have your reactionary services, which is where the managed backup solution comes in. Managed backup really implies a level of prevention, whereas if you just say backup, the use is in recovery. But a good managed backup solution means that you do have preventative measures in place. So what are we giving you with the program? Well, we're giving you coverage for all different aspects. Backup's about a boot and suspenders approach to backup. About 60% of a business's data is estimated by the IDC to reside solely on individual workstations and laptops. So despite our best efforts to go through terminal services and centralize all the data so that we have an easy backup point, it just doesn't happen. So we give you programs where you can really back up everything. Get your servers, get the images on-site and off-site, have a cloud boot option. You have file and folder backups for your individual users as well as for your main file servers. That way you can really start putting an RTO and RPO, again, restore time objective and restore point objective. Talk about that a little more. And really start defining these in terms of different recovery scenarios. The backup is not about just having one strategy. That's a backup strategy. It's not a managed backup solution that you're going to sell much of. If you sell someone just a piece of software and that's all that's happening, you've commoditized yourself as far as not adding any value to it. So what can you do to separate yourself from that commodity market of software that I can go buy from anyone? And really that's where the managed service packages come into play. So what we've seen and why we put this program together is that we have a lot of new tech services coming out. A lot of people are, if they were full-time on-site techs, maybe the business decides to go to a managed service package or managed service provider. And so the tech seems, well, maybe I'll start up that kind of a business as well. So there's a huge entry in the market into IT services right now. It's a big market. It's one of the more healthy markets out there. With managed services, there's a lot that you need to get going to start up into a business. And what we found was that this web integration package we put together really helps you get started sooner than later. So you don't have any web design expertise, don't have a website, or the money to put one together, and they can be expensive and time-consuming. Well, we're now delivering a web integration package that includes integrated CK editor systems, so it's somewhat similar to Joomla and WordPress, so you can manage the content. There's also a CSS editor for your more advanced web design needs. So if you do have someone on site, someone that you're contracting with, you can switch it around a little bit. It's really quite nice. We also included integration of our account management services, so create, upgrade, and cancel, into various merchant systems. So you can bill customers online. And while that's not a primary focus of business, web-based sales for most of our partners, it's certainly another stream of revenue that you can take advantage of now that you don't have to spend the money to build it. Start building up the marketing leave behind strategies. How can you sell small home backup plans to the individual users at each business? It's usually a really easy upsell to get there. So besides that, we have weekly webinars, training programs, so that not only are you trained with the software, but trained in the market and how to sell the software. We go over that with you. For your first 90 days, we give you access to our business development manager and our managers, our team, and they'll work with you and your staff to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. They're going to make money in this program. Besides that, before you even get started in the program, you're going to talk to our partner specialists, and they're going to go through your business with you. How do you operate? Who are you currently targeting? And they're going to do an evaluation with you to make sure that, when you do enter this program, that you're going to get a return on entering the program and the effort you put behind. The time in getting trained, the time in adding this to your business, training your techs, etc., that you're going to get a return. And then they're going to evaluate, okay, well, what level of program is most appropriate? And so it's just great to go talk to them. Here we have a little overview of the different programs in the market, some of the bigger players you might be familiar with, Intronis, Doyen, Segra, XZ Backup, and really what they give you and what you're getting for it. So not only is our program the most as far as what we deliver to you, but also at the best rate. So you're really looking at getting the best for less with our service. Not only are you going to be able to have a better margin, but you're going to have a more robust service. Rather than just one strategy, you get multiple. Even just the other day, we had a customer who sent their tech to support for us, and it ended up being because they had backup assist issues. Well, they ended up upgrading to our program, and now it's way simpler. Rather than wasting 3 or 4 days trying to get in contact with our support staff or sending the wrong logs back and forth, figuring out who they should have gone to, it was just a one-stop. They could have come to us for both the online backup and the image-based backup. So it's really nice to have fewer relationships to have to manage as well. So what do you get when you come into this program? Here we have a nice, pretty little diagram of what SOS works on and what we offer. So up at the top we have Backup Your Cloud Life. This is a experimental product area that we're currently working in, and it's not yet available to partners. Again, it's experimental. We're looking at building tools for backing up Facebook information, Twitter information, Google applications, Google documents, things of that. These services are not built for security. They're not built for backup. So that's why you have a difference in, an FTP service versus a backup service. It's just not, the infrastructure is not the same. The NOC services are not the same. Every day, thousands and thousands of Facebook and Twitter accounts are lost, corrupted, whatever the case may be. Every time there's a major global event, the Twitterverse seems to shut down. The World Cup, the Olympics, whatever the case may be. So those will be things that we release in the future that will be really exciting. Backup your desk life. So the file and folder backup from your individual users. It gives you a completely restore point objective, which means if we restore from what we have backed up, how old is that data? Is it 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day, 3 days, 1 week? When you implement a strategy specifically for workstations and desktops, you can run your backups every hour, and it really keeps your RPO under wraps. Your restore time objective is also significantly better, because now you are only refreshing a very specific data set. Maybe your users have access to do this themselves. Again, following down counterclockwise, we have mobile applications available. So we have the iPhone application and the Droid application to be released soon. They're all generically branded, although the SOS iPhone app is published by SOS as required by Apple. Or you can just use the mobile portal. So your users can sign into their backup account, search through their backup account for a specific file or part of a file name, and then recover or share it depending on the file type and size. So it's a really nice strategy to put in place at a user level. Again, the user in any system is the largest exposure to error. It's the biggest risk in any system is the user. So not having a user level strategy is really a hole in a backup solution. In fact, most partners, you prepare a list, a business continuity list or whatever it is, and you have just kind of go down the checklist when you have new customers or evaluating new customers. You say, okay, what do you currently do to back up your servers? Okay, this. What do you currently do to prevent server failure? What do you currently do to back up your desktops and workstations? Nothing. Okay, great. Well, that's a big hole. And it just shows the customer having this checklist that there is a lot more to be done than what they've currently been doing. How many people today currently have a workstation backup strategy in place for all their businesses, or for even a few? In fact, just put how many businesses you monitor and manage that have a workstation and or laptop fleet strategy for backup. And as those come in, we'll just keep going. Back up your file data. Again, that's our bread and butter. You have a file server. The file server, you may not need to back up the entire operating system. For the most part, the files are the important part. That's why it's called a file server, not an operating system server. It's a file server. The data on there is what's important. So install the online backup application, get the files and folders off-site. Now you have application data and system data. Sure, we have an image-based program. It's for bare metal recovery of certain volumes. So it's a volume-based system. You install this on the physical or virtual machine, and then you have a bunch of drives, and then you just select the volumes that you want to create an image of. You can take those images off-site. We have a continuous incremental program, which we'll show you in a bit, that makes off-site backup for images very nice. And this gives you the full circle solution. Up until last November, when we launched our ServerSave product suite that included the image-based backup, we would just recommend people go to Zenith. Go partner with Zenith. Use their program to create the images, and then use our system to take them off-site. And people were doing that. And then when we added the ability to create the images yourself, we had a huge applause from our partners, and really just a huge influx from new partners. We've really grown quite dramatically just in the last 6 months since the launch of this program. Also, with our program, every ServerSave license includes a license for Exchange Granular Recovery. It's just a default part of the program. A lot of the systems out there, you have to pay for this additional add-on, and then once you even pay for the add-on, maybe the add-on is just to back up Exchange. Maybe the add-on is just to recover. Maybe you need 2 add-ons. Sometimes you need 2. You need an add-on to back up Exchange, and then you need an add-on for granular recovery. And on top of that, you require steps to prepare the backups in a way that they will work for Exchange Granular Recovery. So anyone familiar with Backup Exec knows that even if you pay for the add-on, that doesn't mean that the images you're creating are going to work. You have to go into the advanced settings and make sure you're enabling that backup job to be accessed via their Exchange program. And it's just other steps that can be missed, especially when you have new techs, they're being trained, and also any time that there's a manual step in place, there's a point of error. It's not a matter of being good at your job or not. It's just a matter of being human, and mistakes are made. That's why we have IT services in general. That's why we're in business. Human error is one of the most common types of data loss in the market. So, in a table form, what do you get with the program? You get Exchange backup and granular recovery. Terrific. Down to the middle level, we'll show you that. Bare metal image creator. Real simple. You select the volume you want to create an image of, and it's going to do it. You do it continuously. So you create one full image, and then for the rest of the year you do incrementals. You can take those off-site, and we have a cloud boot option that's available upon request, and it's about $500 a week for us to actually mount a server of yours in our cloud that you can point your machines to while you're rebuilding the server on-site. Online Backup and Recovery Manager. This is our bread and butter. This is our program that we've been building for years. You install this either to take the images off-site or to take just folders and files off-site. This is the program that's specifically built to get data securely off-site and securely recover data. We have Workstation Backup listed here as well. It's the same program as Online Backup and Recovery Manager. We have Workstation Backup listed just as an emphasis of you need to have this strategy in place. We had a couple answers come in. Most of you said none, and a couple of you said, and I had Walter said 1 out of 10. One interesting comment said, usually only the important people. And then only those who are savvy enough to use it. Right. So you can implement it that way. You can actually give a backup account to somebody and they manage it themselves. Maybe you set the backup for them, but then they have access to it. Or you just install the backup program at each specific workstation. You set the schedule. You don't give them the username or password to it, and it'll just run. And then you keep control. And then you use our monitoring settings and our to-be-built management settings to change the backup set and see how it's running from there. Then the mobile applications, we have iPhone and Droid. Droid is coming out in the next month or so for our partners. Again, the iPhone is generically branded and it has published by SOS. The Premier Web Integration Package. Again, this is a huge part of the program. Make sure you talk to your partner specialist about this. But it's not web design services. What we've done is we've found that our partners who wanted the API integration, who want to go through and do that, plug in these systems, or we're new businesses after all, we're spending a couple months and anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 on this development work, this web development. So over the course of the last year and a half, we've put together the most common types of systems that people are integrating into a single system to launch their business. So that includes, again, CK Editor for web content management. If you add web pages, remove web pages. Well, we just recently added a CSS editor for more advanced style editing. We have a mass email tool built into this as well, so you can create subscription groups, create campaigns to market to your customers or keep in contact with your customers. We have a real basic support ticketing system built into this. Of course, the SOS partner APIs are integrated, but you don't need to use the web integration package. For those of you who do have web development resources, we have the APIs and you can go ahead and build this in. A lot of you may have your own customer portals already. If you have that, then you're not going to want to go through 2 different portals for your customers. Just contact your partner specialist, let them know that you're interested in our APIs. And the document that goes through the web integration package has a list of those APIs available for you. Walter says, clients don't understand the need of desktop backup and can be hard to convince. That's the beautiful part of managed services, is that you have this as something that is a part of your backup solution. It's a non-option. It's you're my customer. This is how this is going to work. This is going to be installed here, here, here. You know, one of the beautiful parts about managed services is that you're not negotiating with people who aren't specialists. You know, it's like you going up to the pilot of the airplane and telling them how to fly, given, of course, you are not a pilot. But you understand what I mean. You know, they hire you to help them keep things working and to help them avoid damages incurred by things that may stop working at some point. The only way for you to do that is to put together in writing, there's something about the authority of the written word, and show them this is why I'm doing all these things. And it's called basically it's a risk registry. If you get more information on that, you can just Google it. Go to PMI, projectmanagementinstitute.org. PMI.org has all sorts of information, but you know, the written word has a lot of authority behind it. Gaston has a question. What are the minimum requirements to do a restore with the bare metal image creator? At what level is the restore done? It's done at the volume level. So if you're creating you install image creator on one of your machines, virtual or physical, and then you select the volumes you want to back up. You have an image of that system. If you have a backup server in place with an OS that's up and running, then you can restore those images as virtual drives, and that's really fast. If you don't have that and you've lost all your hardware and you need to go to a completely new piece of hardware and just restore the system as it was, then you use the recovery boot disk and you go through the boot disk scenario. And same question for workstation backup. Workstation backup, we aren't officially delivering workstation licenses for image-based backup. We can, but it's not a standard part of the system, and you'll have to do some manual management. But workstation backup, we really recommend that you have them on terminal services, and have their profiles saved and centralized somewhere else. For the most part, workstations themselves are quite expendable. It's the data on the workstation that's really important. So being able to do the file folder backup from the workstation is critical. Also, have good preventative measures in place. You should be in a situation with all your businesses where your employees walk out to their car, they drop their laptop in the driveway, someone runs it over, and the cost is really just pulling in a new laptop and then maybe an hour or two to reload the profile. If you're not in that type of scenario, then your business is certainly at a much larger risk to lose productivity out of users who do such things, and that's common. All right, moving right along. So here's a bit of a feature grid. You guys can get access to this grid from your partner specialist. Just go through and call them up, ask them for the presentation, and they can send that out to you. But basically what we're looking at is SOS historically competing with companies like Carbonite and Mozy, only doing online file and folder backup. Well, we always did local as well. We always had, that is. And we did it better than they did. We always geared our service towards a more business solution. And that effort is now coming to fruition. We're really excited to be one of the leaders in business backup. Well, we believe our security is par none, and it really is the most appropriate business backup tool out there because of the security we put behind it. Now with the addition of our ServerSave features, so the image-based backup, exchange granular recovery, we're giving you a solution that doesn't really play in the same sandbox as these guys anymore, and we've added a whole new list of competitors, most of which are the opposite. They do well in the local image-based backup side of things, but not so well in the online backup portion. So SOS is really the leader when it comes to an end-to-end solution. Again, workstation and laptop backup protection, your mobile devices for access and backup, having on-site and off-site image-based backup for your servers, as well as file and folder on-site and off-site. That gives you a couple of different belts and a couple of different suspenders as far as your belt and suspenders approach to backup. New things, we're really excited about our version 5 release. Version 5 was a complete rewrite of our backup engine. We rewrote everything under the hood. So this is brand new stuff. We were already the fastest in the market, and you can see the speed test on our main website. And with the addition of, or with the launch of our version 5 software, we're even faster than we were before. So we are, the clear front runner for fastest backup out there. We also have the largest footprint globally. Anyone not in North America here today? As that comes in, again, we have, again, our accolades. As soon as we launched this, it came out as PC Mag Editor's Choice. Again, this is our consumer product that was reviewed, and the business product, it really just is what you are all getting, but it's still very, very simple. And again, it gives you a great user-level strategy and backup, which you shouldn't be arguing with your customers about. It should just be, this is a part of my strategy. If you don't implement it, then I can't really serve you. Like not implementing that really makes your SLAs unreachable. So competitive landscape, I think we're going to leave this and we're going to open up a demo session real quick. All right, so right now I'm going to load up a remote session to Server 2008 box running V2 or R2, sorry. Let me get rid of this. So is everyone seeing this now? You should be seeing the SOS ServerSave application right here with the 4 icons. Give me a confirmation that you're seeing this okay. I want to make sure you're all up to date. All right, looks good for the most of you. All right. So ServerSave, what do you get? Well, ServerSave, the application is this executable here. And it's really a wrapper app for all the different products that we're now offering to our customers. So you have online backup and recovery, bare metal image creator, exchange granular recovery, and workstation backup. So let me start off by pulling up a little grid that will show us how we should be deploying these types of things. And perfect, it came right up as I was looking at it. So here we have a little grid of, what are we doing with the different applications? Well, first we have Image Creator. It's a volume-based program. It's this left column. And this is done across the local network or, hard local drives. we recommend that you run images to a staging machine or a backup server. It's always good. It's a good recommend. This is our recommendation for a backup solution. You don't have to do this. But Image Creator is going to create volumes or volume images. These are large files often, and you want to have them on site, and you also want to have some hardware that you can recover to on site in case, say this web server blows up. Then we just create a VM on the staging machine, mount the image we have of that web server on that VM, and then you're up and running again. Same thing with the file server, mail server, database server. So what we have here is a strategy wherein we elect a staging machine. It doesn't have to be a server operating system. It can be a workstation that's just really beefed up. We have ours set up with 12 gigs of RAM. That's because we have a lot of VMs running on it. I'm actually running a VM on it right now. And we can use this for recovery purposes as well as for just holding the resources. The primary focus is we want to create the image, which can take some it's all local processing. We put that image on the staging machine, and then we use the online backup software to get it off-site securely, and also if you want to recover it. That way you leave your production resources alone during those procedures. I have a question from Mr. Brooks. Good to see you. Question is cache space still an issue under 5.2? Does streaming backup reduce the need for having a large cache, which used to be an issue? Can the staging machine be a virtual server? Sure it can. But really the idea is you want to have separate hardware. Creating a backup on the same hardware is really putting your backup in the same hardware failure risk that your original data is in. So I'd recommend at least being a separate physical machine, but if it's a separate physical machine and then a separate VM on that, sure, that's terrific. The caching system. So the caching system is what we use for for our Delta level backups at a file and folder level. And so what we do is we store the most recent copy of a file on the local machine, so that when we see a file that's changed, we say, okay, this file's changed. What about it has changed? Let's run a bit level comparison or a block level comparison. And then we use the cache to reference what it looked like last time it was backed up to the cloud. And that's how our backups work so quickly. Version 5.2 actually has a lot of efficiency built into this. So there's a lot of filters as far as minimum file size for a file to be cached. Also, we don't cache a lot of specific file types. So any image-based file is not going to be backed up. So anything created by Image Creator will not be cached. And that's because by nature of what Image Creator is doing, there are no versions of images. It's really just a new backup job and a new incremental for that backup job. You'd never be overwriting those things. You'd be replacing them, but you wouldn't be overwriting. So yeah, that's not really an issue, and you can also move the cache to be on one side or the other. So the cache, you have a lot of management functionality behind, and you want to make sure you have enough free space for it. For the most part, the file server is the only time you really need to manage the cache. Everything else you're usually pretty fine, workstations included. So this is how we install all the programs. So let's get back to the programs. So online backup and recovery, bare metal image creator. Let's start with this one. So okay, we're going to program a backup job. First, I'm going to delete the one that's already here. So just along the top, I have wizards, the disk map, which I don't really need to use, except for it's pretty much you handle it in the wizard, so you don't really need to come here individually. Backup jobs, if you want to edit an existing job or just run an existing job out of schedule, then you can do that there. Destinations, again, this is handled in the wizard. You don't really need to come here. And then backup history. So see, we have some errors. If we come down here, we have real plain verbiage for it. Platform error, writing a file. There's not enough space in the disk. So the destination drive is full. Pretty simple problem to solve. Here, ask for the maximizing the window. See if I can do that. There you go. let's create a backup job. So we hit next. We select, again, we see all the different volumes, and these are virtual volumes. So you just select, okay, we're going to select this volume, it's the exchange. If I want to, I can do E and C. I'm just going to do the exchange volume for the demo purpose. Hit next. Now it's asking me, okay, where do you want to put this backup job? Well, this is where you select your staging machine. You go network locations, you need to find the staging machine location. For this demo, I'm just going to throw it to virtual drive F. Now scheduling. So typical image-based backup is a full backup every week, then incrementals throughout the week, and then a full at the end of the week again. Well, that proves to be a great, or the best scenario, when your recovery looks something like, I need to recover back to Thursday, so I'm going to have to take my full image from Sunday, recover it, then I'm going to recover the incremental Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and hope that none of these were corrupted. Well, with our system, you don't need to do that. The recovery is no different if you have 50 incrementals or 2 incrementals. So we do a continuous incremental. So what I mean by that is literally you just right-click the incremental that you want, you hit recover, and it recovers as a virtual drive. You don't have to manually go through each sequential incremental file in your chain. It automatically does that for you. So with continuous incremental, we're going to run one full backup now, and then it's going to run incremental backups every 60 minutes. I can change this to whatever I want it to be. Every 60 minutes, it's going to run another incremental, and it's great. That's a heck of a restore point objective. RPO, 60-minute RPO for your images. That's terrific. Also, there's a self-healing service in this, so that's really nice. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Notice it says use VSS here. So the backup is based on VSS. So that's how we do the transactionally consistent backups. So if you have a SQL database on that volume, some of you may think, well, just taking an image of the volume doesn't give me a recovery of that SQL database. Well, with volume shadow service enabled, any database that's VSS writer enabled is going to be fine. The reason is because it negotiates with the database. It says, hey database, you got any transactions going on? The database says, yeah, why? It says, well, I need you to stop after the next one and pause for a second so I can take a quick snapshot. And again, it's the way databases work. The reason that you've always had to stop a database before taking a backup is to stop the transactions from happening. Well, if it's VSS writer enabled, you don't have to do that manually. It does it automatically during the backup procedure. And that only takes a couple seconds. If you have old databases, like some old Mass 90 accounting programs, then you can certainly go to the Advanced tab here, and go to Commands, and enter a pre-snapshot command to stop the database, post-snapshot to restart it, and then you're good to go. Also, you notice that we have encryption, so those of you who need HIPAA compliance, your local backups need to be encrypted at AES 128. So that's good for you there. And then if you come here, enable self-healing of incremental recovery. So what that means is when the backups are running incrementals, it'll self-heal itself. It'll say, hey, this actually wasn't a good incremental, it was corrupted. Run another one. So it's really a nice system, both in the recovery and in the test recovery itself. Splitting the image, this is good for going into smaller files and for performance if you're going to go off-site with these images. Again, we can handle large images, but again, it's transferring an entire file or nothing at all. You can't partially transfer a file. So if you are transferring a file and all of a sudden your internet connection is disrupted, then when the internet connection is restored, it's going to pick up right where the backup set left off, which was at that file. So it's always recommended that you come in here and you split it into maybe 10 gig chunks. And again, having more incrementals doesn't affect your management because the recovery doesn't change if you have 1,000 incrementals or 1 incremental. So we hit finish and we've created a backup job. Any questions on what we've done so far? Great. So now that we've created a backup job, let's look at the online backup portion. How do we get this off-site? So we have this account. We're going to log into the online backup, and you see that this is actually, I've been using this for testing some of the rebranded part. So when you guys get it, the rebranding will not include rebranding this banner up here. It's only going to be this image and this product name right here. But we're testing this banner, and we're going to be releasing that iteratively, so maybe in the next couple months. But anyways, you come here, and as Steve was talking about, you have options for caching management, so you can cache everything using telecache, which is recommended, or just turn it off altogether. Sorry. Back to options. And you could also change the location of the cache folder so that you make sure you have enough free space. Again, for the most part, this is really important on file servers. You almost don't really have to manage this on any other type of machine. File type filters, great to have. So we're going to set up online backup. Set up online backup, and we have this scanner. So you can say scan all folders, and then you can edit this custom scan where you can include or exclude file types, folders, files based on file size or extension. A really nice system to be able to customize for your users. And this is actually going to be part of the management that we're going to be releasing in the next probably mid to late July. Will be the ability to push out custom scanning settings to different deployments. So this is nice for your customers, especially for the workstation-based backup. What do I need to back up? Well, the scanner tells you. Go for it. I'm going to uncheck that just for the demo. Say next. And then next you get the Windows tree view. So if you're familiar with your folder structure, you know what volumes you want to get, you just check them off. The checkbox means this entire volume is scheduled for backup. So any new files added to it are going to get backed up off-site. So here I see a bunch of image backup jobs and their corresponding incrementals that are selected to go off-site. So this is essentially my staging machine, and I've installed SS Online Backup, and I'm taking the staging machine data off-site. Hit next. Back up the end of the wizard, or backup without user intervention, which means on a schedule, so we can get it hourly or daily. Get hourly I don't recommend unless you're talking about an individual workstation. It's just too much data to push, especially if you're dealing with image backup. But daily is pretty much what you're going to do on most servers. Back them up every night. Backup even when Windows users are not logged on. If you're in a Windows domain environment, it's important to do this so that you make sure that your backups are going to run. And then you can have email backup reports sent to one or multiple people. Just separate with a comma. Hit finish. Now that's ready to go. We can go to the classic view for restore or just the restore view here and go online for the wizard. It's going to refresh and it's going to tell us, it's going to give us bold dates for when a last backup was run. So I can go back, however many months. This account wasn't created until January, so I can go back to the 4th and say, okay, show me what date it was here on the 4th. It's going to refresh my backup set to that point. So I see I have, 7 machines. I go back, let's go back to today's date, hit next. Now I see I've added a whole lot more data. So you go Mac Mini, because we have the Mac client that we've released, the generic Mac client, and just a whole lot more data. You can go through, filter those columns, see what kind of information you have. And here we have a backup job. So let's say we need to recover a backup job or a full image. So we would select all these files that we want to get and all the incrementals, and then we recover to some location. I'm not going to do that because it'll take a lot of time. Question, is there a Linux client? No, there's not. But again, Windows supports map drives and all that. So if you have a Linux box, but also have a Windows box, you create your staging machine as the Windows box and just map your Linux drives, and you can back up the data that way. So let's say I've recovered to virtual drive F, my staging machine. And then I go here and I say, okay, I got backup job 2, incremental 17. right click, let's go ahead with a quick mount, and let's just recover this as a virtual drive. So let's see this created. All right, there, just create virtual drive H. And that's great. Gaston asks, with the recommended configuration for the staging machine, how many jobs can you be running at the same time? Well, from the staging machine off-site, you can only run one job at a time. As far as running, like syncing other drives from other machines to the staging machine, I mean, it depends on your machine's resources. So there I just recovered the exchange volume we were talking about. So that was real quick. I can go through the wizard as well. So if I bring up bare metal image creator again, go through the wizard, let's go to explore backup, hit next, browse for the incremental we want. So I'll just select this one, hit next. So now it says, okay, backup job 10. We have identified 55 incrementals for this backup job. Great, give me the most recent. So I hit next. What drive letter? I works fine for me. Mount is read-only, your choice. Hit next. And then it tells, and here's that intelligent file chain I was telling you about. It doesn't matter how many there are. It doesn't change what you're going to do. Mount image with previous changes. Sure. Proceed. Now we're going to mount this job as virtual drive I. Done. So we did 2 virtual drive recoveries in a matter of minutes. So I'd say, okay, well, exchange granular recovery. Let's say we need to dig into that ADB file we just grabbed. So I go here, and hit browse, and I'll go to the new drive. We'll go to I, go to mailbox, EDB, hit OK. Automatically identifies the transaction log path, hit OK. Shows us what we recovered. Let's select our destination. So we bring up our Exchange server here. And this is going to authenticate based on the Windows user I'm currently logged in as. So you have to be logged in as the administrator for this. Great, so here's what we recovered. User 1 comes and says, hey, there's an attachment that I lost. Would you please search it for me? I said, okay, great. What's it called? He said, something about management. I type in management, hit find now, and it's got all these files. So we open it up and preview it. Simple preview. Look at the attachment. Is this the one? He says, yes. I say, okay, great. So I open up his current box. I take this and I just drag and drop it into his inbox. Done. Let's say we want to see, I need to see everyone who has seen this file. So I select the entire server, hit find now, and now I have all the users who have seen this file. So I can export this to a PST or save this report, whatever the case may be. Really simple program. You can take and drag and drop a new mailbox right in here, and it'll go ahead and recover that. I can take the whole EDB file and drag and drop it on the new hardware, and it'll recover to new hardware location. It'll even create the mailboxes that don't currently exist. See, it's a really nice, simple, powerful program, and that was all very quick in the effort of demo purposes. Well, we close this out, and I want to get back to our presentation. So again, we open this up. And as you just saw, we were operating just in the online backup file and folder area. Now we're operating in this whole area. Everywhere from bare metal in the cloud, bare metal local, all the way to mobile device backup. And we're the only one in the industry that currently has this type of reach. Rick asks, is there a cloud-based management tool for job creation for remote sites? There is one in development, so it's not currently released, but we're expecting to have functionality like that out end of July, August range. So we did have that functionality, but when we rewrote the software, we had to rewrite all the management and monitoring we had. So we did have a program called Pulse that we went through, and we've rewritten it to be much more flexible, much more powerful. So we're going to be seeing iterative releases every 2 or 3 weeks. You're going to see a lot of new features and facelifts to the monitoring and management section. So the 3 areas that we're really looking at is you need monitoring. What type of monitoring do you get? Well, it's all about the most recent events. So if I pull up our browser here, in just a moment. So this is our current version. This is going to be changing pretty soon here, but we have our monitoring. Monitoring, we see the point is, I need to know what's happening, what's not happening. Now we use this for demo purposes, so there's going to be a lot of backup jobs that are failed because the trial's over. But this tells you, okay, what should I be reacting to now? Okay, the reporting aspect is going to be able, the goal is to give you a report that you can run for your own edification, but mostly so you can send something to your customers to say, this is what we've been doing for you. So on your monthly report for managed services, we want to be able to give you that backup report or the backup segment. And then for management, we need to give you the tools that you can react to things. Things like controlling the backup set, controlling the schedule, being able to run a backup job, things of that nature. Gaston asks, how many incrementals before you need to run a full backup? You don't. There is no limit. So this is part of the dashboard. The web package that we have is actually, if I go to partner name, so this is really special. No one else in the market is giving you this. So if you go to partnername.onlinebackupcheckout.com, this is actually what you're being delivered, all the pages, all the content. This is the box content and everything. And you have, again, back-end access to modify this information. So we give you all sorts of content so you're ready to go right away. OIS, security, all these types of things. Sign up now page. So if users want to come in here and buy something from you, you can do that. Very simple to do. We support Authorize.net, PayPal Pro, and eWay. If we log in as an admin real quickly, and I'll show you what we have here. So here's our admin dashboard. You can see all the tools that we've put in place. So we have a coupon code system. There might not be any in here. You can create coupon codes to hand out to people, so you can give them percentage discounts on the service or fixed discounts. You can make the coupons based on a certain time period. So this coupon's only good for the weekend or for the month, a hard cutoff dates, or you can make the coupons only good for a certain number of uses. So you could say first 50 users to use this coupon get 50% off, and then you have to use this coupon. We have the content management system, which is really nice for your customer-facing web pages. So you come in here, you can modify some of the SEO data, keywords, title, description. And again, it's all hosted on our subdomain. So you don't have to worry about registering a domain or getting an SSL. We handle all that. We're just going to put your business name here or your current business domain. So, you know, gaston.onlinebackupcheckout.com. We do have an option to upgrade if you would like a top-level domain to be used, which is better for SEO. Then you can certainly do that, and it's an extra $39.95 a month. If you go to edit here, now we have our visual editor, so you can change the content that's on the front site. And for our more advanced users who have some web design background and familiarity with CSS, we do give you some CSS access here. So you can come in and change the colors, rearrange some areas. So you have all the banners, the modules. This will be Greek to you if you don't know CSS, but this really is has been about a year-long request from a lot of our partners who have a lot of web design experience, who wanted a little bit more flexibility when it comes to the design of this web package. So what's great about this is we don't need to collect anything from you because we give you this access. If you need web design resources, for instance, you don't have someone on hand or someone that you contract with that is familiar with CSS, we do have people we can recommend to you. Again, built-in support ticketing system, a built-in mass mailer, so you plug in your mail settings. You get a mailer statistics here, gives you bounce rate, click-through rate, email sent, unsubscribed rate, so a real powerful tool. Again, view gateways, you enter in your credentials for PayPal, Authorize.net. It's just real simple there. And then you have admin settings where you can come in and you can put in even more admin settings like global metadata items. And that's the web integration package backend. So again, to bring up the presentation, you want to call in your partner specialists at 877-896-3611, extension 1. They're going to go through all these different options that we have here on the board as far as how much they cost and what your expected margin on the suggested retail price for the software. Just to hand the software to somebody, is this our retail price? That is not the price of managed services. Then again, that's the same thing the IDC confirmed. Is they're like, we're expecting the cost of the service to triple, but we have no idea how big the growth in the market is going to be when it comes to the management aspect of it. So you can start off small with our ServerSave 5 program, 1 terabyte of cloud space plus 5 server licenses, and you can grow from there. There's some more diagrams of how our items are, and again, our knowledge base has all this as well, and you can get this deck from our partner specialist. Any questions about what we've gone through today? For our existing partners, how's it looking? You ready to come on board to the new program? Looking pretty good. And for those of you who are still looking around, did you get the information that you wanted from this? Did you see everything you needed to see? And if you haven't, our partner specialists will be able to get all the other information you need. So again, 877-896-3611. They're standing by. Hit extension 1 for the partner specialists, and they'll be able to go through and help you out with all the questions you have. Thank you, Rick. Terrific. Well, again, I'll be talking to you all soon when you guys come on board. My name is Derek Wood. I'm the Partner Products Manager here at SOS, and we look forward to having you on board. So thanks, and have a good one.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call